Hey everyone, welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into some of the creepiest and most distressing paranormal activities that people have experienced right in their own homes. So dim the lights, cozy up, and let's explore the darker side of the unseen. Make sure to subscribe to stay updated with our spooky journey. This happened when I was 11 and visiting a lighthouse in Michigan that was supposedly haunted by a boy. My parents wanted to take a tour with the tour guide, but I wanted to play outside considering we had been touring various sites in the Upper Peninsula that day. No one was around, so my parents ended up letting me play outside the lighthouse while they took a quick tour. As I played outside, a really beat-up ball rolled up to my feet. I bent over to pick it up, and as I stood back up, I saw a boy standing next to the edge of the lighthouse looking at me. I assumed the ball was his, so I tossed it over to him and he wandered away. I didn't think much about it, but when my parents were done with the tour, they asked what I did. I told them something along the lines of, I was just wandering around. Oh, and I helped this kid get his ball back. The tour guide was with my parents, and when I mentioned the kid, he looked startled because, as I mentioned earlier, there was no one other than us at the lighthouse. Only 3 cars. My parents' car, the tour guide's car, and the car belonging to the person at the front desk. The tour guide asked me to take a look at a picture in the lighthouse. I know this sounds super cliché, but when he showed me the picture, it was the picture of the exact same boy with the exact same beat-up ball. Apparently that kid died at the lighthouse. On a side note, we checked around and there was no boy. So you might be asking me, why was this creepy, especially considering that the boy never scared me or tried to scare me? What creeps me out is that I touched that ball. When it comes to ghost stories, most people only report ghosts and not other objects, assuming that was a ghost with his ball. What the heck did I touch? Also, it felt solid, like a real ball. If it was a ghost ball, then how the heck do you explain what I touched? This still bothers me to this day. Many years ago, I had a Ford Escort which I really loved. One day I noticed the back right wheel was missing a single lug nut. No biggie, replaced. Soon though, one is missing on the same wheel. I assume the thread is stripped, but the shiny new lug nut is still there. Different ones are missing. This keeps happening, and I assume all the threads are stripped a little bit. I don't want to lose a wheel though, so I get all new studs, go through the pain of driving the old ones out, way harder than I thought it would be, and get all new lug nuts to go with it. Before the week is out, I'm down 1 lug nut. I start checking my car every night and then again in the morning. Yep, disappearing overnight. Not on the ground either. Aha. I have a prankster. Feeling this is annoying, but no big deal. Very small town. I go sell some blood plasma a few times and then buy a big old bag of lug nuts. They keep vanishing and I keep replacing them. But then I notice one vanishes sometime after leaving for work and before I get home. Fallen off while driving? Weird? Coincidence? They're still occasionally vanishing overnight, about once a week, randomly. I start making marks in my owner's manual in the morning before I leave, when I arrive at work, when I leave for work, and when I get home. I check their tension frequently. Occasionally, one is loose. This fits the random falling off but doesn't explain the overnight disappearance. Sometimes it vanishes while I'm driving. Sometimes overnight. At least twice while in the parking lot at work. I'm beginning to feel very weird about it. It just doesn't add up. I keep writing stuff down as if that'll make it make sense. I carve symbols into the lug nut tops with a screwdriver to tell them apart. Heart, spade, diamond, club, and the different ones are definitely disappearing. Not always the same location. I can't explain it. Finally, I try a dangerous experiment. I simply let it run with 3-4 lug nuts. Cautiously at first, I check the tension on the 3 remaining ones because I imagined the wheel falling off at highway speeds. But over time, nothing happens. I kept the car for almost 2 full years after that, and my back right wheel always just ran with 3 lug nuts. The only time I had one disappear was when I got new tires, and the shop put a new one on, Once it vanished, though, I let things be and it was always fine. I still have no idea what that was. I don't know how disturbing it was, but it was so odd. I am now curious what would have happened if I had had some kind of surveillance footage of the car at night. I wouldn't say distressing, but it's a big reason I keep my bedroom door shut while sleeping, as well as a big reason I keep the lights on at night. When I was in middle school, I kept my bedroom door open one night. That night my father was out drinking or something. I say something, as he was cheating on my mother at this time, so who's to say? He didn't come back by the time I went to bed, so when I heard the front door slam shut in the middle of the night, I thought, Dad's home. Then I went back to sleep as I heard him walk up the stairs to the living room, the house I lived in for context. You had stairs right as you entered through the front door or garage door, up to the living room and down to the basement. There were then more stairs when you walked up, leading to the bedrooms on the 3rd floor that were over the garage. I never heard him walk up to my parents' bedroom, which was in view from my bedroom door. I felt something was watching me. I woke up slowly to see what I presumed was my father in the doorway. I squinted at him because he plays jokes like this, trying to scare me and my sisters. When I got a good look at the man in the doorway, I couldn't see any features. I went to wipe my eyes and get a better look at him. I stared at the man, and 2 white eyes stared back. I realized this wasn't my father. I didn't scream or jump back in fear. Instead, I did what any sensible person would do: cover my face and hide in my sheets. I heard the man walk over to my bed after I hid. I could feel him still staring at me. He was close enough that I could hear him breathing. I just cried. I was hoping it was all a dream or a prank my dad was playing on me. I eventually cried myself to sleep. I woke up that morning scared out of my mind. I found my father sleeping on the couch. I didn't tell anyone about what happened at the time. I didn't have the best relationship with my father, so I never approached him about it when he woke up. However, I asked my mom when Dad got home, and she didn't know, as he never came to bed. I slept with my door closed from then on. I would sleep on a couch or in a room with no doors from that night onward. I always felt someone was watching me from the corner of the room, but as I got older, it slowly stopped happening. He now seems to come back when I drive at night. Sometimes I think I see him in my back seat or on the sidewalk. So I think whatever this is, it's still attached to me. But I have never seen him as clearly as I saw him that night when he stood in my bedroom doorway. I don't mean to leave it like that, but nothing else has happened. Nor has he shown himself in the past 4 months. So it's good for the time being. So I live in the Midwest, and the shit that goes on around my house is pretty messed up. We never really said it out loud, but no one ever went into the woods behind the house. It was like an unspoken rule. Even inside the house with the window facing the woods, my parents only closed those curtains for that specific window. To the right of my house is a very large field we use to plant corn or soybeans for our farm, and behind our house are miles of woods. Our neighbors live about a 15-minute drive away, so we're separated by a lot of miles. I remember growing up as a kid, and me and my sister and brother would play this game called Ghost in the Graveyard. It's basically hide and seek, but it was in our long driveway and front yard, and you play it at night. I remember one July when I was 9, me and my cousins were playing Ghost in the Graveyard. One older cousin was kind of a jackass and wanted to play in the woods because it was scarier, and with us being kids and I being the youngest, we played in the woods. The whole thing felt so off. I hid behind this massive tree right next to the field. We had flashlights, but you had to turn them off in order to hide. So I was sitting in pitch darkness, and the only thing I could really see was the field next to me. 1 second you could hear crickets, owls, and frogs, and then it went super quiet. About 5 minutes into waiting to be found, it began to smell like literal sewage, like shit and rotten meat were mixed into a blender. So I stood up and looked for my cousin. I turned on my flashlight. I remember gagging as I walked because it smelled so bad. As I walked, there weren't any noises or anything that scared me. I just felt like something was following me. So naturally, 9-year-old me started crying, running, and calling out for help. My cousin found me, and we were yelling for the other kids to come back to the house because we were done playing. No one responded, so we went in the house to grab the adults and tell everyone to come inside. We grabbed my dad, and he came outside and yelled for everyone to come inside. There was no rustling or even a response. So my dad grabbed his flashlight and went out and helped us look. Eventually, all the adults came out to look because we had no idea where the kids were. Everyone started panicking, and my dad pulled out his truck and his deer spotlight to see if we could find them along the trail. We stayed out looking for them for about 5 hours, and finally, we found the first kid. Nothing happened to him, but he would have had to take a car to wander out that far into the woods. It was literally miles. Same with the other kids that we began to find by morning. Each kid had the same story. They heard our voices calling from the farthest side of the woods, opposite to where our house was, and they were trying to get away from the smell. Now on Thanksgiving, we always talk about it, and even thinking about the smell now makes me gag. I had what I felt was a father-child combo in the condo my family and I owned prior to moving to where we are now. Every night was insanity with the kids' toys and footsteps. It wasn't just the automatic or robotic toys playing their jingles either. Balls would bounce around, and things would constantly roll across the floor. The dad was constantly trying to mitigate the situation with regards to where the kid was and which toys the kid was playing with. It was as though the kid just wanted to play with everything and go anywhere, but the dad was always trying to corral the kid into a less noticeable corner of the living room and keep the toys quiet, which was in itself way louder than letting the kid simply do whatever. I know it was a dad or man because the footsteps were of someone trying their hardest to be as quiet and tread as lightly as possible in work boots. When the shoes would clunk and the floor would creak, it really sounded like someone who weighed 250 Leobes. One night I got out of bed and headed to the living room. I could hear a mad scramble on their part as I went from the bedroom to the living room. Once I was there, I got down on my knees, elbows on the couch, closed my eyes and said, "It's fine. Just let them play. We don't mind sharing." Back in bed and on the brink of falling asleep, I heard a few footsteps and the creak of the couch when someone sat down. The Laugh and Learn puppy came on, another toy played a jingle, and the ball with the shapes inside rolled across the floor. I fell asleep, and after that night, we never heard from them again. I still feel bad that they left, but I also think they were able to move on, which is for the best. I seriously hope to meet them in the afterlife.